I love my presentation from you. I feel like it's so Coretta Scott King and so official. Good afternoon. Again, my name is Karcheik Sims-Alvarado, and I'm so honored to be here today. I love talking about communities in Fulton County as well as DeKalb County as well too. We have so much wonderful history that has gone undocumented, and luckily we have so many individuals who are living history that's still with us, who can still share so many stories with those who are part of the 20th century and as well as those who are part of the 21st century. So we need to continue documenting these stories and sharing them and passing them on as well too. We have representatives from two communities today, Flat Rock and Shermantown, and I think we have 9 members of the panel representing both communities. If we can have you all to come up. Okay, do we have everyone? Okay, great. No, one more? Okay.
She's steady.
Okay.
All right, you got them all.
Okay, I have them all. Okay, I've been informed I have them all. Okay. Well, just by a show of hands, maybe you all have divided yourselves within community groups. Okay, so which side represents Flat Rock? Okay, and Stone Mountain. Okay, all right, great. All right, so let me begin first with the group from, let's see. I feel like I should come around in some type of way. Should I? I could talk loud enough. Can you all hear me?
Yes.
Okay.
Ma'am.
Now I am official. I have a Let's see. Is it on?
It is.
Can you all hear? Oh, yes, you can hear me. So let's begin first with members of the Shermantown community. What are some of the misconceptions about living in Shermantown in regards to its history as well as relationships with members of the community? Who wants to begin? Okay, Miss Gloria. Yeah. Oh, and introduce yourselves too as you pass the mic as well.
Finished school in this county.
I've been in Stone Mountain, Georgia, all of my life except 5 weeks. I was in the hospital. I'm 76 years old. I'd like to talk about Stone Mountain for a simple reason. There's so much misconception of Stone Mountain. First of all, yes, it was Ku Klux Klan. Wherever you live in the South, it was Ku Klux Klan too. Nobody in Stone Mountain has never been lynched or beaten or killed by no Ku Klux. Yes, we went in the back door. If you lived in the South, you did too. We had restaurants. We went in the back. They had a kitchen back there. But when we sit down at the table and eat just like everybody else, like you did if you lived in the South. I went to Stone Mountain Colored. The young lady had the first picture up there. That was my elementary school. Stone Mountain Colored Elementary School. And I'm very proud of it because it was real nice. A lot of them in DeKalb County was not that nice. We had 4 rooms. And we had a big playground. And we enjoyed it. And when I left there, the pain came. I passed 3 high schools to get to 1 high school. But my dad always told me, don't worry about it, just keep on learning, because it's gonna get better. And I must say, I lived to see it get better. I had 1 child, and she's here today, and she was the first black cheerleader for Stone Mountain High. So it's great to me. I was raised in a black, white town. And when I said that, let me explain. And a lot of people don't like to hear me say it, but I really give you credit where credit is due. And I must say that my relatives, not me, worked for the Venables Mason. And if you're white and lived in DeKalb County, or the state of Georgia, some kind of way you heard tell the Venables Mason and Adrian's family. I was taken from the hospital from that mansion on Ponce Leon, 1014 Ponce Leon. But the year they help y'all. They did help us, but it helped us to be somebody. Because I wore good clothes. I ain't never went barefoot. And they paid our relatives. And I'm proud to say that I was born and raised in Stone Mountain. Yes, and I lived about 2 blocks from where James Dillon, he owned the land to do what he wanted. He got a permit. The Ku Klux met down there. They nigger, and it didn't bother me at all. Because my daddy told me, don't worry about it, baby. Name ain't nothing, somebody saying they got nothing else to do. And they got their face covered, baby, because they're cowards. So don't worry about a thing. So, and I guess I was very fortunate. My community was listening to Mr. Waits talk about the educational part. In 1942, it was Avondale Colored High School league. They had 14 people in the Avondale Colored High School. And I'm very proud to say 1942. From the 11th grade, we had 2 people from Stone Mountain Black, Delwood Dunn and the late Kate Shoemaker at that time. And they finished the 11th grade. So I'm very proud that our education was, I guess, a little bit better than, I'm not jealous, but it was a little bit better than other blacks in DeKalb County. Because we went to the 11th grade to 1952. Then the first 12th grade class graduated from, at that time, it was Avondale Colored School. And I'm going to tell you this in my conclusion. The first principal of a high school in DeKalb County, Avondale Colored High School, was Miss Maud Hampton, who was born and raised on 3rd Street. She went to church and she lived on 2nd Street. And she's buried in Stone Mountain Historical Cemetery. Now we got 2 cemeteries too. If you come to the city cemetery, you will find that it's very much integrated. It's, my family's over there too. It's white and black. The cemetery that you saw on the film, that land was donated by the Mason Generals to the black community. It was an elementary school there when they built a new school and they moved down on 4th Street. They took that building and we have a recreation center. But then it burnt down about 5 years later and we turned it into a park. It is now named Villa Mason Park. I enjoy talking about Stone Mountain. Anytime you want to talk about Stone Mountain, just come see me. I'll be glad.
Hello, my name is Elaine Vaughn. I too live in Stone Mountain. Was born and pretty much raised in Stone Mountain, but I don't go back as far as Miss Gloria. I just from that new century coming up. I went to a all-black elementary school, which was Victoria Simmons, but I graduated from Stone Mountain High School. Yes. And the year I went to Stone Mountain High School, they had just integrated. I didn't go to Hamilton. I know I didn't go to the colored school. And I never rode a school bus until my grandchildren went to elementary school and I went on a field trip. Because I always lived within the mileage where I could walk, which was fine with us. When I went to high school, even though it had just been integrated maybe a year before I got there, very few blacks were there, but we had no problems with the white. No problems whatsoever. Me and 2 other girls were the first blacks to ever be on Stone Mountain High School drill team. And we got along very well. Where I live today, the house when I was younger is a vacant lot across the street. And oh yes, the Ku Klux Klan. I was a little girl. Didn't have no problem. Mama said don't go outdoors, we just didn't go outdoors. But people, when I tell them I live in Shermantown and all the Ku Klux, they never mess with us. we did our thing. Well, we did what our parents told us to do. And they did their thing, and they went on about their business. I would say maybe a half a block from where I live today. I was told that is just right around the curve. It's where Sherman, I guess you would say, did his overnight stay. I was a little girl. So, the lady that I know that lived in the house, her name was the late Miss Emma Maddox. And her yard was where Sherman and his troops laid over. And there used to be a lot of granite. I can't tell you if they were headstone or if they were benches, but there was a lot of granite in her yard. And she would often tell us stories about it. I love my community. I truly love my community. I try to educate my grandchildren a little bit more about what's going on. Like I said, I had no problem. I ain't never picked no cotton. I didn't work at the granite. And as far as I know, my parents did, so I don't go back that far. But I do know that the history in Shermantown is very rich. Very, very rich. And for those of us that live in Shermantown, it's precious. I moved away. Once you get married, you go. But I came back home. I said, I ain't going nowhere. And I actually bought a house across from where I was born and raised. So I'm right at the foot of the mountain. I can stand in my backyard and I can look up at the rock. And to the young ladies, we know in '89, probably the reason you didn't see many blacks, because we can just walk around there anytime. We can climb at any time. So that's probably why you didn't see a lot of blacks in '89.
Good afternoon. My name is Evelyn Herans, and I too was born, bred, and fed in Shermantown. I was born in 1957, and up until 2010, when my husband and I bought a house, and Lord knows I was trying to find me a house in Shermantown, but my husband and God was saying, no, you got to step out the box sometimes. But I graduated from Starmount High School in 1975, but I remember I also went to Victoria Simmons. I was there in 1963 up until 1969 when they started integrating the schools. And I have a pamphlet back there talking about Victoria Simmons, the lady that the school was named after. And it's a pamphlet back there you can read on her about. I also have a pamphlet on the history makers of Shermantown, who did it first, that I knew of. And it's a wonderful pamphlet back there that the historian lady didn't even know about until she saw it back there. And I did it and typed it up. And in 2009, we have a committee, or this year will be our 27th year. We have a committee called the Stone Mountain Day Committee. There was a man named Wilmer Brooks who died on last year. It was his dream to do a big community reunion and to bring not just the people in Shermantown, but the people who had gone. It didn't matter what color you were, white, black, or whatever. Our mayor back there, Patricia Pat Wheeler, she was at the first Stone Mountain Day back in the 90s. She was there, and she's our mayor again during this time. But this reunion is something awesome. We haven't had any killing, shootings, or anything like that. But it's a way of bringing the community back together, no matter what color you are. I mean, it's not just about Shermantown, it's called the Stone Mountain Day Committee. And like I said, I graduated in '75. I've been to 3, almost 4 of my class reunions. And when I graduated in '75, there wasn't but 10 blacks in my class. So when I go to these reunions, there's always somebody there. Where are all the colored people? And I tell them, oh, they coming. But I have an awesome time, and some of these people that I had to go to Stone Mountain High School with in the 70s, they are still my friends today. These are white people. I go to events that they have, they come to events that I have. We see each other in the store, we talk on the phone, and now that we have Facebook, we all keep up on Facebook. They send prayers out to me, I send prayers out to them. You know, it's just amazing. And how God can bring you through something and you don't understand why it is. The Colettis, their son, I call him my white child. Because my son and their son are the best of friends. Their son was at my house the other night. Even though I moved out of Shermantown, he lived around the corner. He got a house around the corner, but he comes over and visits, and my son is crazy about him. And like I say, I lived on what they call Blueberry Hill, which was like on the outskirts of Shermantown, but it was within Shermantown. And the Ku Klux would march down the main street, and you see the little guy out there with his hat on his head, you know, they cover their faces and stuff. And before we got out of, this was like, they always started coming on Labor Day, the Saturday before Labor Day. And my little friends at school, my little white friends at school, and I'd say, I gonna see you Saturday? When they come by, I said, well, I'll be standing at the corner of the street, so when you come by, just wave. I'm for real. And they would wave. They were going to Ku Klux Klan meetings. When I was standing on the street, they were kids. They had to do what their parents told them to do. So when we got back to school the Tuesday after Labor Day, I would be like, girl, I saw you in your daddy's car. And they'd be like, you know, young man, I saw you. Did you see me standing on the corner waving at you? Because they had passed by us. Their rally was at the end of Lucille Street, which is in the heart of Shermantown. So they'd get down there, and my daddy would sit out there, and he'd say, y'all just stay, don't go off the street. Just stay so that we can see you. We sit out there in the yard, and we'd hear them do their little speeches, and they holler nigga, nigga, nigga all night, and everything. And we sit there and listen, you know. But I never till the day when somebody said, don't Shermantown Stone Mountain, KKK. Now I would say, what do you know about it? Such and such got lynched down there and such and such. I never seen it. I didn't get lynched. I can't name you somebody that got killed when the KKK came in. But I can tell you some of my friends that went to the meeting, you know, and I knew nothing didn't happen. Nothing happened to us. And I lived in a house of 13. It was 13 kids in my daddy's house. It was 13 of us. But I thank God for Shermantown. My husband didn't want me to leave Shermantown. Boy, I cried. Like I said, I wanted to stay in Shermantown. But I thank the Lord, because you never know what He's moved you for, so that you can see other things, and life goes on. Oh, my time is up. Thank you.
And now we will hear from members of the Flat Shoals community. Right? You know, it's so funny. You saw how I paused, right? Flat Shoals. So, Dr. Henry Louis Gates had a documentary on PBS called African American Lives. And he featured the Flat Rock community. And so I want to know, from your perspective, why you thought it was so important for Mr. Gates to actually include the Flat Rock community narrative within the American narrative.
We want to let some of our seniors talk about it. Dr. Henry Louis Gates did come out and stayed 3 days in our community and was recording the going back to slavery. He went to the cemetery. He interviewed Reverend Bryant And Reverend Bryant couldn't be here today. It's Chris Tucker's great-grandfather. It's Chris Tucker's grandfather. Couldn't be here today. He's 95 years old. He really wanted to be here, but he couldn't come out. But we just thought it was so great that Henry Louis Gates chose us to be the first community to come out and talk about African American life back in the 20s and the 30s.
So let's hear from some of the other members of the Black Rock community. Don't be shy. I don't think you are.
I'm Bertha Clark, and I'm 83 years old. I was born and raised in the archives where the archives. And I lived there for 17 years. And I went to Flat Rock Elementary School. I went to school in the real old Flat Rock, but the first one was burned. But I was on the floor because had to go with my aunt because she couldn't walk to school by herself. So we went to school, I went to school with her. But you could not be in a grade until you was 6. So I just, 2 years I went to school. And I had class, but I couldn't get promoted. And when the school burned down, when I was in 2nd grade or 1st grade, and then we went to go to school in the church. So we went to church, schools in church, and we had our little pot better eater, and we had to walk to school, which was actually about 2.25 miles. And I graduated from the 7th grade at the church. And we had a high school in Lithonia, but we couldn't go, so we had to go to the Lithonia Colored School. And we had to have a bus, pick us up, school bus, we had to ride a bus. So we had to walk from home about a mile to get the school bus because it couldn't come through our little school road. So we had to walk to Brownsville Road. And that was the main road to go to Lithonia, to high school, to Lithonia Colored School. And so after 2 months or 3 months, the school, everybody had to go. It consolidated the school. So all of Flat Rock children, it was Flat Rock, Redan, and Miller Grove. Flat Rock and Miller Grove had to ride the same school bus together. Redan had their own bus. And I lived on the farm with my granddaddy, and I picked cotton and picked everything. We planted everything, we had plenty of food, never were hungry. I milked the cows, I did it all.